I'm very pleased. Thank you also for coming tonight. I thought for those of you who haven't been to the membership meeting, we're talking about doing our annual pie party. And so December traditionally has been it, but it's been so busy with everybody in the holidays. And I suggest, why don't we do it in January, where we can have a membership drive and have a relaxing time, and there's nothing going on in January. And so that's why we planned it for this time. I'm very pleased to have Mary Reed here to talk to us about how to approach a gallery to get a show and any curatorial questions that you may have. She has been involved with the Carnegie Arts Center since its inception in 2003, I believe, right?
Correct, yes.
She's also an artist in her own right and has her own studio just, I think, a mile or so from the center. So without further ado, please take it away, Mary.
No, I just can't thank you enough for making me feel so welcome and such a great place to be on a January day. Food's terrific, and I've got to see some familiar faces, which just makes me happy. So I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy also to talk about what I love, and that's Carnegie Visual Arts Center. This is, I guess, just probably start with a little bit of history about the Carnegie itself. Of course, if we're from Decatur and maybe Huntsville, Alabama, we say the Carnegie. Everywhere else, it's going to call it Carnegie, but for us, it's the Carnegie. The library is built in 1904 and is one of over 2,500 libraries that Andrew Carnegie built around, actually, and I found out earlier, I kind of brushed up a little bit, that not only in the US, but internationally as well. It served as the community's library until the mid-70s. And I can't imagine what it's seen in those walls during that time. The upstairs is where the stacks were, and downstairs was a little community area and the children's library. And each of the libraries also has a stage, or had a stage. In the past couple of years, I've had a chance to view a couple of the Carnegie libraries in Alabama, and it's neat to see how they live now. A number of them are still libraries, and they're beautiful. After our current library was built, they moved everything out, and First Baptist Church, which is right across the street from us, took the space over and used it as their youth area. So the building got a little bit rough after that. And in the late 1990s, the city acquired the building, and the mayor at the time, Lynn Fowler, who is just such a fabulous person and was a wonderful mayor, charged the Decatur Arts Council with raising enough money to renovate and repurpose the building. And it opened in 2003. So it's free admission always, which is nice. I recently saw something on TV, or saw a clip about it, about reduced admission in Huntsville. But Decatur, Carnegie Visual Arts Center is always free, so for everyone. My first experience with the Carnegie began in 2003, before the doors had even opened to the public. And I think I was telling Amy earlier that it was Margaret, that I can remember, I can literally close my eyes and remember the first time I opened those doors. Because at the time, I was a dental professional. I worked in dentistry for 20 years, and I was always an artist, but I was, at the time, my kids were school-age children, and I was really concerned about the lack of arts funding in the city schools. And so, in reading the paper and learning about the Carnegie becoming what it is currently, I decided to really step out of my comfort zone and walked in those doors and said, I want to help. And guess what? They put me to work. As a volunteer, yes, come in here, we will take you. So I served initially as a volunteer. I was on the board of directors for 7 years and have been a paid employee for the last 6. So this current position with the Carnegie, I started in the summer of 2017 as the exhibit coordinator. The previous coordinator, Kathy Silvestri, was there from the very beginning. As actually on the Arts Council and was one of those that brought the money in and helped with getting us where we are now. She trained me for about 3 days and, and said, go, you know, but I think my whole life I've trained for this. I really, you know how you find yourself in a place like that? I really feel like I've trained for this my whole life. I never even thought that it would be a possibility. But creating art and learning about art and looking at art and a number of years in custom framing, which has been really helpful. And you know, you tie all that in with a deep love for the Carnegie from the very beginning, and it's kind of, I feel like I'm really where I'm supposed to be. So the point of, I guess, of my being here today is, what do I want from an artist or a group who wants to come exhibit? I get people who come in and look around and say, oh, well, this is pretty cool. What does it take to, you know, have an exhibit, to show my work in here? I said, so you're an artist? Yeah. I said, well, initially, you know, we look at, just depending on the size of the works, anywhere between 40 and 80 pieces, and they go, oh, that's nice. And they go on, you know, I mean, so it's easy, you know, it's easy to think, and anybody who's starting out or remembers the days when you started out, you know, it's a big deal to ask somebody that, to maybe put yourself out there a little bit and to realize what it really does take. So depending on the medium and the size, anywhere recently, this is not even in my notes, recently, I guess it was just over a year ago, we hosted an exhibit by Doug Balas, who is a drawing professor, and I know a number of you were there for that one, drawing professor at UAB, and I was still pretty fresh in this position and had not, I'd heard about Doug, but I didn't know him, and he came in on Friday during Thanksgiving break a couple of years ago, and the day after Thanksgiving, and looked around in his way and said, okay, well, I can come back with something. And so we talked, and I never really heard what he was going to do, but I'm like, okay, I heard about this guy's a pro, it's all going to be fine. And we get close to the, you know, I don't have an exhibit inventory, I have nothing. And I'm like, well, it's like, well, okay, so talk to me, Doug, about how many pieces do you think you're going to have? He says, oh my gosh, I have no idea. I said, well, you got to give me, I know, you got to give me an idea. He says, 800? I'm like, okay. And I really think that he did. I mean, I really, if whoever saw this, I think we really had 800 pieces. And it may have been everything from a finger bone of a, I don't know what, to, it was incredible. If you didn't see it, I'm really sorry. You need to find him somewhere and see the work, because he is a force of nature. Anyway, it just depends on how many pieces and what they are, what we're gonna show. I will schedule at least a year ahead. I tend to get really nervous if my calendar's not full. And in fact, as I was writing this, I'm like, you know, you don't have an exhibit for next year. And I'm like, oh God. So that's, you know, that's here. So awesome things also happen at the spur of the moment. One example, and some people here are going to know this, Cindy Miller is going to know this. I think she may be not Miller, Wagner, is one of the artists that helped us out big time. About 4 years ago, during when Kathy Silvestri was in the office there, she had an artist drop off the schedule, like, I don't know, days prior to install, yeah. And so after, you know, the initial breakdown, she and Kim Mitchell, our director, and I'm an artist, and I'm doing membership at the time and everything, which don't do membership. And so we hop in the car and we drove to Low Mill, which is so happy. And I know that there's a number of you that are at Low Mill. And there we recruited Cindy Wagner, Ann Muller-Steverson, Judith Fields, Cindy Miller, Julie Gill, Jane Phillips, and Stacy Morgan. And I tell you, you saved the day. You saved the day. I mean, I can't imagine, for the doors not to be open when they're supposed to be open. We had a marvelous exhibit, and I believe that it was a success for everyone. Magic can happen on the spur of the moment. We all know that as artists. Just last fall, I had an exhibit featuring 3 artists, one with 2D work, and then 2 with some other interesting pieces, 3D works. And 3 weeks prior to installation, one of my artists' mother died. And she's like, can't be there, can't do it. And I'm like, we've been planning on this for a year. I can come get something, but it just didn't work out. So she couldn't do it, and I understand that. So I reached out to my resources, found an artist, actually somebody that Doug gave me his name, who was a student and doing grad work in Dallas, Texas, and said, yeah, I'll bring my work to Decatur. I'm like, oh, okay, you're gonna drive it. He says, yeah, I'll drive. I'm like, even better. So let's see, where was I? About a week later, he called to say that he couldn't do it. So now I'm 2 weeks out. He had 8 out of 20 pieces explode in the kiln. Oh. And he's like, I could bring what I've got, but it's not going to do me well. It's not going to do you well. So he said, we'll catch you another time. And I found an artist that I had met in my studio by the name of Dariana Dervis. Anybody know Dariana? Oh, this is somebody you need to know. Dariana is a fabulous, fabulous artist. She lives in Birmingham, and there's a really cool group of people down there. I'm kind of getting to know some of them. I'm really excited. But Dariana's work, you have to look her up, D-E-R-V-I-S. Dariana, I called her and reminded her that we'd met, and she said, yeah, I remember, and I told her what had happened. She says, well, yeah, I can help you out. So I went down, I went to Birmingham, we talked, we looked over things that she had in her house, she had gathered some stuff, and she's been exhibiting for a long time, so she had a good amount of work. And showed me some pieces that she was working on, and I said, well, I need it in a week. And she said, well, okay, I'll do what I can. So she did what she could, and I went down, and I don't remember, I think I ended up picking up like 30 pieces. And actually it wasn't quite that many, because she sold a third of it. She sold 9 pieces. So in the end, I mean, it worked out really well. And it was, I think the initial concept of the exhibit was going to be great, but this one was just terrific, and it brought her, and I'm bringing her back. She's going to be back with Chi Roach in 2 years. So very excited about that. So things are crazy. And it's funny, I'm happy to sit here and talk to y'all. I'm not nervous or anything, but God, when I have to call an artist I don't know, I'm like, oh God. Because I'm thinking they're not going to want to talk to me, and they're not going to know, but if somebody were to call you and say, hey, I really love your work, and I really want to exhibit your work, I mean, you'd be going, no, I don't think so, because I love you. You'd go, oh my gosh, you love that. You love me? Tell me how you love me. Tell me how you love. We're all like that, right? So, that's the fun part. That's where I have to get out of my own head. So that's, it's pretty cool to have somebody call you. So the Carnegie, I don't know how many people have been to the Carnegie. Okay, about half, I'd say, so yay, thank you. Hey, how are you? Thank you for coming, and I want to see everybody there. I think one reason why we have such great exhibitions is because I really want to know you. I want to know, I want to get as much in your heart and your head and your process as I can, because I want to do the best that I can to present your work, and it's not that hard to do because it's such a fabulous space, but I think that it really works to build a relationship, and that's I think one thing that might set us apart. We realize that it takes a lot of faith to work over somebody. It's a big responsibility, and we don't take it lightly. I I think this is another reason we've been able to present some pretty high-profile work in such a small center. One instance of the importance of building relationships, there is an artist who had passed away. Her name is Bebe Nungester Wolf. Not Bebe, I'm sorry, that's her daughter, Mildred Nungester Wolf. I don't know if anybody knows Mildred's work. Mildred grew up 2 houses from the Carnegie there on Church Street. And in my office, I have one of her watercolors that's a snow scene looking up, and you can see the stairs of the Carnegie and the church and everything there. But Mildred was, just fabulous. Of all the pieces that I've been able to see in my whole life, I really think that exhibit, there's just something about her work. It's free, it's watercolor, yet it's representational, but it was shortly after she died that I think we were the first ones to really take the work. And her daughter was standing in the driveway with tears running down her face, stopped and said, "Are you okay?" She says, "It's just the first time, that this part of my mom has not been with me." And so that was big for her. And I think that's really what made us realize, light bulb moment, that this is huge. So it's not something we take lightly. Another example was when the Carnegie hosted the Null exhibit. I don't know if anybody saw that. Millions of dollars worth of artwork in a little bitty center. Definitely had to jump up the insurance on that one. But it was a big deal. He's got North Alabama connections and lots of connections and collectors in Decatur. So he came to our open arms, and we won't forget that one. But not too many, I don't think there's too many small centers that get shows like that. So I think that's a big deal. Being a professional artist myself, I know the artist side. I've exhibited. Whether it's a solo or a group show, we understand. I've been blessed to have been involved in numerous large and small group shows at the Carnegie, and exhibited solo in 2014 with about 60 paintings. So I've been there, We average about 7 exhibits a year, each 5 to 6 weeks, and then of course there's install. Our current exhibit is called Artifact Vision. This exhibit closes on Saturday, so if it sounds something interesting to you, you need to get over there. Spencer Nolan Laws is a Decatur guy who grew up and had a fabulous high school art teacher, a good friend of mine named Beth Waldorf. He went on to Memphis School of Art. Anybody know? Thank you. He went there and is now working with a fabulous studio in Memphis, but his work is furniture grade woodworking, and he forges metal, so steelwork and ironwork and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's a really cool exhibit, and I'm so proud this is his first post-grad exhibit, and so it was a year in the making, and so he was very excited. We were super thrilled to have him. He's 26 years old, and this guy he's gonna be amazing. So to come and see something, including seriously large and heavy stones. He's got stones that are like this big, just some crazy stuff. But this one, this exhibit, oh yes, and I've also got Crystal Vanderwhite, who is a photojournalist from Florida. She lived in Decatur for a while and worked for Decatur Daily, but just amazing work. And the exhibit has everything to do with their relationship with the land and how they process what they see in the land. It's something you really have to see. Let's see, Crystal is back in Florida and doing some freelance work. Upcoming, we have a wonderful show featuring a local artist named Frances Tate. She's a self-taught artist. Frances is a beautiful, intelligent, articulate, amazing woman who grew up in Old Town. Old Town is actually the oldest part of Decatur, and is back in the early 1900s and middle 1900s was absolutely fully integrated. Jewish families, white families, black families, all living in the same neighborhoods. It was self-sufficient. They had laundromats and cleaners and grocery stores and businesses. They had Leo the lion. Yes, there was a lion that lived in a cage outside one of the grocery stores. She's got wonderful stories. One of those is about the protocol when Leo got out. And how people Leo's out, and you know, I mean, it would just go around town, and everybody would jump in their houses. Unfortunately, much of Old Town fell under urban renewal in the 70s, and so there's a lot of structures that are no longer in existence, and it hurt her heart to know that there was no record, and so she decided, well, somebody's got to do something about this. So she kept talking about it, and she's retired from Bell South, and somebody's got to do something about this. So she realized that she was that somebody. So she taught herself how to paint, and she relies on photographic resources and memories of her own and descriptions from other people. And she's so far done 400 pieces. Wow. I know, this is amazing. And so she actually goes down to the river and collects water. So she paints her watercolors with water from the Tennessee River. So it's very wonderful, and it's going to be a big deal. She is she's a friend and a terrific artist. And actually, she has pieces at the Huntsville International Airport, the Carnegie Artway. If anybody has seen about that, we actually have a small gallery and exhibit area at the airport, which is very cool. After that one, and one thing that I want y'all to know about, there's packets around, and I want everybody, there's plenty for everybody. There's information in there about Embracing Art. Embracing Art was the first exhibit that Carnegie had back in 2003. It is literally taglined as a coming together of area amateur and professional artists. So you've got until February 14th. To submit works, and it's a wonderful show, and I'd love to see, we've got a lot of Huntsville artists that take place, but I'd love to have y'all come over and submit some work, which could be done online. I said come over, but I didn't mean that. So last year we had 80 artists exhibit. I think that was our biggest one, and I think it was most definitely the highest quality show we've had, so there's just all kinds of stuff to see with that one. Our third exhibit of 2020 will be the abstract paintings of Francine Tint. Margaret, you said that abstract was Amy, right? Talking about your abstract acrylics. Francine Tint, this is definitely one you're going to want to see. Francine is a New York City artist who was in the heyday with the art movements and has a lot of names to drop. This is a description of her work in her words. Influenced by the movements of color field and action painting, Francine Tint's paintings draw on her own life events, dreams, and literature. Tint has received grants and awards, including the Adolph and Esther Gottlieb Grant, Paulette Krasner grants, and an honorable mention from the Butler Institute. Her work has been shown both nationally and internationally and is in the permanent collections of over 25 museums, including the Portland Art Museum, the Heckscher Museum of Art, and Krannert Art Museum. She has she's had 30 plus solo shows, most recently at Cavalier Galleries in New York City, and 3 solo museum shows currently in Maryland and Alabama. This is going to be a really special show. The works are amazing, and I don't know that really we've seen any abstract works of this quality. She's a great one to look up. There's lots of information on her online. It's one of the things that I loved was watching videos. She paints, her studio is in her apartment, and it shows the area where this is, I mean, it's an okay sized room. It's not huge. It's not a big room like this that, you know, everybody wants to have a studio like that. It is covered in plastic everywhere. And she takes a amount of canvas, and she'll tape it up or nail it up, and she'll roll it out all 4 walls. Nice. And then she just gets these big brushes, and she just starts to move. and she walks and she draws, and it's very cool to see. I haven't really seen anything like that before. We won't be having any of the gigantic pieces. I think probably the biggest ones that I've got are 84 inches in one direction or another. But they're going to be really neat. She will be with us, find back where we are. She will be with us May 19th through June 27th. So very, very excited about that. And she's a hoot to talk to. From New York City, we come back home to Alabama. The textile works of Auburn University's Sherry Schumacher. Katie, this is one that I was telling you that you're for sure going to want to see. And also, we're bringing in Nadine Mares of Florence, Alabama, who has the Idlewild studio. Some really amazing stuff. Hope to have some workshops with these ladies in sewing and decorative mending. Very, very exciting about that. This one also exhibits, this exhibit coincides with Camp Carnegie, which is our day camp that we have for 6 to 12-year-olds. And so we've got a wonderful faculty of professional educators that come in. I've got one lead. And every year I try to find an exhibit that will work for these kids to come in and see something just completely different, blow their minds. We have lots of different steps in our Camp Carnegie. We teach visual arts, improv, music and dance. We have science and yoga. So the kids there's just lots of things going on there, but we'll have, both of the artists will be with us at some point in time, and then hope to also have workshops for adults with that. It's been so much fun. I did a workshop with Doug Bloss when he was up 2 weeks ago, and sewing, and I sewed till my hand was like, I'm like that day I got to stop sewing. It took me a week to recover. But oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I just want to get the needle and thread back in my hand. Let's see, we can't feature Auburn without bringing in Alabama. And so, I don't know why I said that, but I did. It came to me. Jamie Grimes is an art professor in Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and he is bringing in some terrific installations. Jamie's work also is a really good one to look up. He's Jamey. Jamie's work is these gigantic sheets of coroplast. Anybody know what coroplast is? Okay, if you don't know, it's like think about corrugated cardboard, except it's like vinyl. And so these gigantic sheets, and he cuts them and all these forms, and then he hangs them, and it almost looks like you are standing in the surf, and they'll be high and low and all over the place. And he's installing that one. Yay! So that's it'll be really happy to see how he does it, but it's just I'm so excited to see it, and so happy that he's agreed to come see us. I found him online, just doing a search for Alabama artists, and he popped up, and it was. I mean, I won't forget seeing those images the first time. So he'll be with us end of August through early October. From there, we have Trace Barnett. Trace is a blogger and kind of a lifestyle guru, I guess, out of just close to Hamilton, Alabama. Brilliant, that's what it is. I was trying to remember the name of the town. Brilliant, Alabama. I don't really know that it's a town, but it's beautiful. It's the other side of Bankhead Forest. And Trace is kind of a photo stylist. He does a lot of work with the Birmingham TV, local TV shows. He's lifestyle magazines and a food and interior stylist. He's worked with a lot of magazines. He'll be a Southern Living feature, and will also this year, I think maybe about now. And also will be featured in an autumn edition of Architectural Digest. So his works are really interesting. He goes and he collects stuff, just whether it's trash on the street or if somebody says, my aunt died and I've got all this stuff, he says, well, bring me the stuff. So what he does is he lays it out, he builds a composition with all these things, and then he just coats it in paint. I mean, it's paint. It's just all over, and he lets that cure, and then he stands it up and frames it, and it's just very interesting to see how the different parts of the artwork relate to one another or don't relate to one another, or just to sit and really view and to see what is involved in all of this. They're normally monochromatic as well. Sometimes he will put a thread of different color in. It's a lot of fun just to see what all is involved. And the last exhibit of 2020 is going to be quite an experience. Arthur Price is another Birmingham artist and painter. Arthur paints very large scale works on unmounted canvas. They are really reminiscent of the Romantic works, and also a lot of nature and Art Deco references. They will just be suspended from the ceiling, so you have the fabric of the canvas and the work. So we've got a lot happening. It's very exciting what we're doing, and moving into 2021. So that's pretty much everything I've got. So who wants to know what? And maybe if I don't know it, I'll make it up. How's that? Questions? Yes.
If an artist was interested in having an exhibit there, what would be the steps you would suggest, or at any museum?
Well, I would say, just to reach out. Just reach out, find the person that you need to speak to, and begin building that relationship. Have an idea. Have an idea of what you would like to express through the work, and be open to, sometimes like physical limitations of a space. Be open to what the curator, the coordinator has to say about it, because we've seen so many works in so many different ways. I guess that's one thing, is just to be open about it. But no, just send some photos. Yes.
I run an art collective, Green Key Press. We want to have and this may not be specific to Carnegie, but it's just something I'm wondering in general, because I have never approached a place about doing a group show like that. So we have, it's a pretty broad range of styles, and maybe at different levels. And we have a diversity. We want to give everybody a year to make works for it. But I would like to book a show to work toward, rather than having a year for people to put their work together and having another year until we figure it out, because then we can bring together what we have. Do you have an idea of how I could approach someplace like that? Or do you have any suggestions? Trying to book a show in advance of having
the work.
Having the work from a group.
I think that you have to do your due diligence in basically curating your own group to a degree. I had an exhibit, let's say it'll be 2 years ago this summer, of the Paper Workers Local, another Birmingham group and collective, and it was very interesting. It was great to see it, and it worked out well. And I'm drawing a blank on what the gentleman's name was that did, John DeMott was one of them, but there was another gentleman that really, I think, did the majority of the legwork. When it comes to a bigger show like that, I would suggest to be ready to. I'm not going to say provide something turnkey, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But kind of almost. You know, I mean, it's difficult. I've got one exhibit that's coming up, Embracing Art, that every year. I mean, I know it takes a lot of time, and I don't generally have that much time in my own office life to put together a lot of stuff like that. So if it can come to me, and I can only speak for myself, if it can come to me pretty neat, pretty tidy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah. You know, I'm gonna say yes. Many years ago, I'm gonna do everything I can to help. I really am. Many years ago, I mean, I remember I was probably 32 years old, and I've got these 2 kids, and I don't have time to make artwork, and I'm afraid that the abilities that I had, that my talent or my skills were definitely rusty, but I was afraid that it would leave, that it would go away. I'm just afraid of that because it was, you know, it's you, it's me. And I went to somebody who was an older woman who was at this show, outdoor show, and I said, I know I'm Mary, and I know you're here in town, and I'd love to have somebody to talk to mentor, to just talk. And she looked at me, she says, yeah, I don't do that. And I'm like, I mean, that was almost 30 years ago, y'all. I remember this. And this is at the core of who I am as an artist and as a professional. I'm gonna help, you know, but I can't do it all. So I would think that if you find somebody who is not open to you like that, boy, I'd keep on walking. I would, because it has to be, I think it has to be a collaboration. Just like your people that you want to exhibit. I mean, there's a collaboration there, so. Is that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else. Yes.
And I think before you exhibit someplace, if you can go see it,
Yeah.
it's because it's really beautiful architecture, but it's not like other gallery space, and you can really highlight the features of it if you go visit it. And Doug's was one of the people that took over that space.
Oh, it was immersive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really any other way to say it, is there?
Yeah. And but I think visiting also gives you a sense before, if you can, before you know if they're gonna feel.
Taste the joint. Yeah, go. Walk in, feel comfortable. See, and also, and that's a really good point, because I think if you walk in somewhere and you don't feel welcome there, that's just, that's like trying to take a commission from somebody that you can't communicate with. And it's like, ooh, no, this is not the one. So that's a really good point. Definitely come visit.
I didn't realize it was free all the time. Honestly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we're eligible for grants and all kinds of different things because we are free, you know? So, and when you come, make sure you sign that book. Because, I mean, really and truly, I mean, it makes a difference because, you know, when we sign for grants or write for grants, I want to know how many people, you know? So, yeah, yes.
How'd you get in the airport?
That's kind of a funny story. Airports are like art spots now, which is really cool. I mean, it's really, why did we not think of this sooner? You know? And apparently the airport reached out to a local museum, maybe in Huntsville, and said, you want to come do this? And they said, I guess they said no. So they called Kim, and Kim, I've told her, as my advice to my dear friend, and co-worker and boss is, girl, you need to say no sometimes. She does not say no. Well, she didn't say no. She said, yes, we would love to be a part of this. And she is a powerhouse, and she has got a vision, and she will work through, and she will make it happen. And it's almost been 2 years ago. And we just opened that the 8th, I think. So yeah, she asked me if I wanted that, and I said, you know, it's really great and awesome. I'm so excited, but no, I don't. Because no, I do know how to say no. No, I don't want that. Because I'm busy. So I'm busy with what I'm doing. So it's really exciting. It's the first exhibit. They're going to run quarterly. Rebecca Poole Burns is the coordinator for the Carnegie Artway. She did a beautiful job working with a local fabricator, building the physical portion of it. I mean, it's stunning. It's really pretty. If you haven't gone, it's super easy to get to. It's not through security or anything, so you can go see it. And we've got, I guess she's got maybe 8, 9, 10 artists over there. So we've got a couple pieces, got 3 or 4 pieces over there, so that's nice.
So is this an artist to approach?
Definitely.
Will we contact you or?
You can contact me and I can get you to Rebecca. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So you mentioned as far as contacting a gallery, just interested in exhibiting, but is there anything that you shouldn't do or shouldn't say, or have you ever experienced someone approaching to exhibit and you were kind of off-put by what they said or how they approached it?
You know, I really haven't had that experience of being approached in an odd way. Like I said, you can kind of, have your stuff together. You know what I mean? Probably the first way, it's like, I guess if you were interested in, well, you're interviewing for a job, I guess. So if you think about it like that, make sure that you're talking, see if you know somebody who knows the right person, make sure have a resume together, examples of your work, your best stuff. And listen, this is one thing I want to talk about, and I don't know how many of y'all submit works for shows and stuff. I am the exhibit coordinator for the Carnegie. I have a small gallery cooperative on 2nd Avenue in Decatur. I've got 13 artists with me. And I'm also, boy, I have learned so much. I'm the artist liaison for River Clay Fine Arts Festival. I've done a number of shows. I probably haven't done as many as Kami has, but I do a lot of shows. But God, y'all, your images. Think about it. I mean, really, because that is it. That's all there is. I can read your words on the paper. I'm gonna look at your photos. And if your photos are not good, I'm like, And if I like the work, but the photos aren't good, I'll reach out to you and say, listen, you gotta, these images are not good. I mean, I'll just tell you that because I wanna help you, and I'm gonna be nice about it, whereas maybe somebody else is just gonna shut you down. So, boy, you gotta have your images, and Walt Schumacher at Huntsville Art League, well, you want artwork, he's gonna photograph that stuff and it's gonna be perfectly lit, and he is such an engineer, very talented, nice guy. But, I don't do that with my work, but boy, I make sure I've got no glare, as well as little glare as I can, because I paint oil. As little glare as I can, crop the work. I don't want to see the carpet that you laid on, So you gotta think about that. Crop it. You can do that on your phone. You can take a good picture with your phone. If you're careful and you really look at it, don't forget to but truly, that's what it is. So you've got to have great images, just a few, your best work, great images, and get somebody else to tell you what your best work is. Somebody that you really admire, because you may not, that, we all know that. We may not be our own best judge. Let's see. So you've got your images, you've got a short resume, what else? Got to know who you're talking to. Don't drop in. Send an email, make an appointment. Please make an appointment. So it's kind of is that kind of common sense stuff? You know, think about how you would want somebody to approach you. I guess that's the way I would look at it. Be professional. Be friendly. Does that help? Yes.
If anyone has small hero shots, all cropped and lovely, come see Emmy in 129 at Lower Mill.
Oh, cool. Is that you?
No, it's my daughter.
Oh, okay.
She has the light box and has the experience to do those pieces.
That's great. Yeah. And light boxes, yeah, if you're doing 3D pieces, light boxes are pretty easy to make. So it's not anything. Yeah. But that's awesome. That's awesome. What else?
Okay. Well, I think you'll stick around for a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And please do pick up a packet. There's the submission form for Embracing Art. There is Carnegie. Let me just do a little bit more. And Carnegie Carnival is coming up. Does anybody know? Who hasn't heard of Carnegie Carnival? Okay, Carnegie Carnival. We 9 years ago brought Mardi Gras to North Alabama. Okay, now I know that Huntsville's doing it too. We have a night parade and we throw stuff. We have a night parade and we throw stuff. We can throw it, and oh my gosh, it's just so much fun. It's an entire day worth of events. It is the only reason that for the first time in literally last year, the last calendar year, since 2003, we have been fully staffed. The only reason. The day starts out with a half marathon, which is a wonderful fundraiser for us. We have a kids parade, we have a canine parade, and then we have the main parade. So come to Decatur, spend the day, great spots to eat downtown, lots of fun stuff to do, local color, 115, 2nd Avenue, Southeast. I'll have great artists on staff.
What's the date?
That is 2/22/20. It's easy to remember, right? It's on a Saturday, but the real part of the fundraiser for us is our King and Queen nominees. We go to the community and find people who love to be out there and who are not afraid to ask people for money. We have 3 men and 3 women. This year we have Prince and Princess candidates, which are high school seniors, which looks really good on their resume. Okay, going to college and everything, lots of volunteer hours. And I think we've got 8 schools involved this year, which is the most we've ever had. And then we have, so that's our Prince and Princess, and then we have Sir Bow Wow and Lady Barks a lot. The money that the canines raise is split with an animal advocacy group that we take proposals from these groups to pick who we like best. And then it's really easy to know who wins. Whoever raises the most money. And this is our 9th year, and in 8 years they have raised over $400,000. Wow. It's a wonderful, family-friendly, super fun. I'm on a crew. I am Bloody Mary, or the Pirate Mary Reed. The crew, oh you crooked goat. My husband is the captain. My brother's quartermaster. We have probably close to 40 pirates now, and we have a pirate ship that is built on an RV. They rip the RV off of it, and it's 64 feet long, and it drives down the street. We don't need no stinking truck, don't call us. So it's really something to see. We've got about 35 crews that walk and have floats, but it's just the best thing ever. Carnegie Carnival, come see us. Commercial over.
You should be in Dragon Con then with your pirate ship.
Well, yes. We can't go over the road. No, it would have to go up on a flatbed. It would be If somebody wants to pay us, we'll do it, because we'll go anywhere to put on our pirate clothes, but.
It's a lot of fun. So fun. All right. Well, thank you, Mary, so much.
I can't thank you all. I hope I've given you enough. Thank you so much.